Are you a mom who sometimes struggles with the challenges of motherhood? And when I say you struggle with the challenges of motherhood, sometimes it feels like the weight and burden of being a mother can be too much. Like you are giving it your best effort, and sometimes that best effort doesn't seem like it's good enough because you're left with more questions than answers. Like being a mother can be so emotionally charged, and it can have its moments where it's absolutely beautiful, but it can have its moments where it's draining. And often we don't have a place to go to discuss what that looks like and how you can rebuild after those tough moments. And so I want to cover in this video how you as a mother can create this environment where you are both nourishing and disciplining your child in a healthy way so that they can begin to come to you and talk to you about how their behavior is impacting your relationship. Because a lot of times, mothering can be a thankless job, it can be a position where our children don't realize the sacrifices that we make for them. And it can often be frustrating where you're like, listen, do you know what I have done to ensure that you could have that toy and to ensure that you could live this life and to ensure that you had access to that? And it can feel like, when you ask them to do something really simple, that you get um, talk back and you get attitude and you get all the things. And I want you to know, listen, you are not alone. We all experience that with our children. We all sometimes get to a place where we just don't have the answers. We don't know which way to go. And I will tell you, I'm a Christian, so one of the things that I firmly stand on and that I firmly believe is that in order for me to mother well, is I need the direction of the God who I serve, right? I need his direction. Now, if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, that's fine. You can still listen and you can still get some tips and some things that will help you along the way. But for me, I have a 7-year-old, and with mothering my 7-year-old, one of the key things that I do is every year before she turns a different age, I pray a prayer. And I say, I don't know how to be the mother of a 7-year-old because I don't. When she turned 1, I said, Lord, I don't know how to be the mother of a 1-year-old. Before she was born, I said, I don't know how to be the mother of a newborn. When she turned 2, I said, I don't know how to be the mother of a 2-year-old. Before she turned 3, I said, I don't know how to be the mother of a 3-year-old. Before she turned 4, guess what I said? I don't know how to be the mother of a 4-year-old. Before she turned 5, I said, I don't know how to be the mother of a 5-year-old. And before she turned 6, I said, I don't know how to be the mother of a 6-year-old. A lot of times as parents, we think we have to have all of the answers. But when I became a mother, I realized I had no answers. I had never done the mothering thing full time. Now, I'm an auntie. It's nothing like an aunt and her niece, though. And it's nothing like an auntie and her nephews. But I love being an auntie. Like, I love being an auntie. But my boos go home, right? Like, we're not always together. But being a mother, you are always with your child. And everybody's situation is a little bit different. I am divorced. So my daughter does spend time at her father's house. But for the most part, she and I are always together. And so sometimes emotionally, that can be very stressful, especially when you're not aware of why you're emotionally charged and your child is not aware of why they are emotionally charged. And so one thing that I have discovered in motherhood to help lower the emotions, to help lower the pressure, is to make sure that I'm aware that I'm the adult. I know. That might sound crazy, but a lot of times we can forget, like, I'm the adult in the situation And your actions don't dictate to me my response. Like, you having a tantrum doesn't mean I need to be embarrassed. It doesn't mean I need to be frustrated. But what it does mean is I need to be understanding, because what you are exhibiting is a cry for help. You're asking me to assist you in a thing. And if I can decode what's going on, I can help you to decode your behavior too. Because here's the thing, children need our help in their developmental process. And as they are developing, they need us to help decode why they're doing the things that they're doing. Because have you ever, I don't know about you, but if you're anything like me, you ask your child why they have done the things that they have done. And if you've ever been a child, you've been asked, why did you do that thing? And a lot of times children will come back and say, I don't know. They haven't fully thought it through. Or you ask them why they're crying or why they are exhibiting this emotional response and they don't have the answer. I remember being 24, living on my own, having a family situation, and being so emotional. But only thing that I knew to say was, I don't know what I'm feeling, but I'm feeling some kind of way. And I found that I did not have the verbiage to properly articulate my emotional state. I knew that physically my body felt uncomfortable in connection to the situation that was happening in my home. And I didn't live in the place where the thing was happening. So it was happening at a distance. I'm not even in the vicinity of what's happening, but emotionally, I'm experiencing what's going on. But I did not have the words to say. I did not have the language to fully explain what I was emotionally carrying. And I remember talking to my father because the incident had to do with him. And I had an attitude. And I'm 24 years old at the time, but yet I'm still his daughter. And I had an attitude in communicating with him. And I did not know why I had an attitude. It was like an instant attitude in talking to him. I found out some things that were happening that was going on. And then I was instantly upset, but I couldn't articulate why. I did not fully understand what I was feeling, nor could I explain to him why I was treating him the way I was treating him. Now, I want you to bring that into the relationship and the interactions that you have with your children. Are there moments where your children are not treating you well? And you're like, what, excuse me, ma'am, excuse me, sir, what have I done to you to cause you to mishandle me in this way? And they don't have the faintest idea why. But they have had some form of emotion that has shown up in their actions. And it's you, mom, who's going to help them to discover why they do the things that they do. Many times as parents, we don't realize that we have to help our children have the language to communicate with us. And if we lack the language to communicate with them, then they will lack the language to communicate with us. I remember learning that when my daughter just wanted to be picked up and held and like carried when she was first born, that there was nothing wrong with that. You know how you hear parents and are like, oh, this baby is just, I'm happy, they just want to be carried. But the reason why there's nothing wrong with that is because they have been being carried around for 9 months. So they want to be up in the air, they want to be close because that's what they're used to. It's not because you've done anything. You know, people be like, oh, you spoiled the child, that's why they want to do that. No, before they got here, they wanted to do that because that's how that's how they were living before I pushed them into this world, or however, the baby was delivered. But that's how they were living it up before they got here, okay? And I listen, I know I'm a little bit all over the place with this, but a lot of times in our parenting journey, sometimes we could just be over it because what was a normalcy for somebody else that we saw parenting is not the normalcy for what we are experiencing, and it can be frustrating. But I want to encourage you as a parent. I want to encourage you and say, you are doing well, mother. I'm going to say that again. You are doing well, mother. You are a great mother. And that in this season, as you take time to evaluate who you are, it will elevate you as a parent. If you have ever taken a flight, they will tell you to go ahead, if there is an emergency on the plane, and put on your face mask first. Why? Why do you need to put on that oxygen mask first? Because if you try to put the oxygen mask on the baby or the person who you are assisting, what will happen is you'll pass right on out. And if you pass out, you are of no good to them. As you are walking through this journey, it is so important for you to become familiar with what you're thinking, with what you are feeling, and with the actions that you are taking, because your child is modeling you. Your child is doing the kinds of things that you are doing, even when you don't know that they're doing it. Or they're reaching out to you, vying for your attention because they don't feel like they have it. And so as you are creating this space intentionally, as you're intentionally determining how you want to show up as a mom, as you are intentionally determining how you are going to make deposits into your children, I want you to do it from a space of purpose, from a space of peace, knowing that what you're doing is making a difference. I pray that this video has blessed you in some way, and I look forward to seeing you soon.